Step into realms where the heart takes flight, where strategy meets the edge of night. The Dungeons, Dragons, and Psychology podcast. Prepare your mind. Now be our guest.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Dungeons, Dragons, and Psychology podcast. I'm your host, Robert Walker. On today's episode, we're going to be discussing plot hooks, how to write them, how to make them appropriate to your characters, and how using the psychology of story writing can make your plot hooks irresistible to your players. So first of all, what is a plot hook? Plot hooks are one of those things that you read a lot about in role-playing story building and campaign creation, but they are a story device that's meant to grab the attention of your players and lead them to your plot line. If they're done right, an effective plot line hook will make your players drop what they're doing that's off plot and turn their attention to this shiny new piece of the story that's been presented to them. One of the great things about psychology is that it gives us insight into the inner workings of the human mind. And there have been many studies out there that correlate with storytelling. These findings can be used to make your stories a compelling and immersive experience for your players. And in the case of plot hooks, there's some tricks that can help you grab their attention and maintain it as you transition from the plot hook to the plot line. So writing an effective plot hook using psychology means keeping a few things in mind. First of all, remember what we discussed in the last episode about player attention span being about 8 to 10 minutes long and keeping out unnecessary details. When you're writing your plot hooks, you want to be concise, omitting unnecessary details. In psychology, this is sometimes called the verbatim effect, which is the tendency of the human mind to only remember the most important aspects of an event and to filter out all the noise. In plot hooks, the noise would mean your players are filtering out unnecessary details. If there's too many unnecessary details, then your players could filter out enough of your plot hook to miss it entirely. So you want to keep the details of your plot hook to the most important parts. Another thing that we can learn about plot hooks from psychology is the incentive theory of motivation. In this theory, it demonstrates that there are extrinsic and intrinsic motivations, and they can be powerful tools in shaping behavior. An extrinsic motivation is when external or tangible rewards, things like wealth or goods, is the motivator of behavior. And with intrinsic motivation, intangibles like fame, for example, would be a driving factor in your motivation. But both of these types of motivation can be woven into plot hooks as rewards that are known to your players. And with this, it's really important to be transparent with your player characters about the rewards that your plot hook is going to provide them. If you let them know what they will receive by following the plot hook, be it gold coins, magical items, some sort of secret knowledge, fame, titles, whatever it happens to be, giving them an understanding of the rewards of that plot hook can help motivate the behavior of your players and get them to engage with your plot hooks. Another pretty well-known psychological phenomenon out there that can be utilized to add power to your plot hooks is known as the bandwagon effect. This is the effect that causes people to behave in a way that they believe others are behaving or are going to behave. When I think of this, I think a lot of the iPhone phenomenon, where there was such a massive percentage of certain age ranges and demographics became lifelong iPhone users because it's the thing that everybody else their age was doing. And this bandwagon effect can be used in a plot hook as well. If you can get a plot hook that appeals to as many of the players around the table as possible, then other player characters are likely to jump on the bandwagon. Dig into your characters' backstories and motivations to do this. Write plot hooks that are going to appeal to as many of them as possible. And then once they want to follow that plot hook, those stragglers will jump on the bandwagon and go along for the ride. Another couple of things to think about when writing plot hooks is distinction, for one. And that is whatever makes your plot hook different and unique to your players. It might seem sometimes like people tend to gravitate towards what's comfortable and familiar to them, but in terms of seeking out new things or grabbing attention from something, they're drawn more to something that's new and different. Sounds, experiences, anything that they haven't seen before is likely to garner more attention from your players. So if your plot hook is that your characters need to go kill some rats in the sewer, they've likely done that 20 different times in different campaigns. It's not going to grab their attention. However, if you put a small twist on that there are mutated rats roaming the city's sewers and every other creature that they bite becomes infected with the mutation, that's going to be a lot more interesting to your characters because it's different from the things that they've seen in the past. Empathy is also a good idea to evoke in your characters. If they are empathetic to another character in the game or to the situation that they need to deal with as part of the plot hook, they're going to be more invested in whatever story it is that you're creating. If they're moved to another person's struggle, then they're likely to help them alleviate that struggle. And the last thing is impetus. It's the what behind a character's action, their desire for doing a thing. If you can appeal to their why would they want to do this? And you can understand why they would want to follow a certain type of plot hook or a certain story line from a plot hook, then you're going to be able to write them a lot more effectively just by asking yourself, why would character A want to follow a plot hook, or why would character B want to follow a plot hook? So if it has something that is meaningful to the players who are playing the characters, and they know that it's going to be meaningful to their character's story, it's going to drive them to take more interest and pay more attention to a plot hook. Now, get out your pencil and paper. It's time for Tricks of the Trade. This is Tricks of the Trade, where I give you at least 3 ideas each week that can be used to enhance your campaigns. I'll try and keep these ideas connected to the main topic. So today we're going to talk about a few fun plot hooks that might just be unique and exciting enough to be irresistible to your players. So my first idea is, I'm calling it Stuck Between a Rock and a Hard Place. And in this plot hook, the king or the leader of a specific kingdom has died, and the party has been hired to investigate the legitimacy of 2 different claimants to the throne. Their search will reveal that both individuals have an identically equal claim, which leaves the party with the power to select the next ruler of the kingdom. However, there's a twist on this. One of the would-be leaders is an abhorrently evil person, a murderer, but would likely be a just and lawful ruler, and has a much better grasp on handling the needs of a kingdom. The other individual is nobly good, but the plans that they have for leadership will likely throw the kingdom into turmoil and ruin the lives of many people in the kingdom. So it's a, out of the frying pan and into the fire type of a situation. It's leaving your players with a very difficult decision that they have to make there at the end, or look for an alternative solution. But I think the concept of is pretty novel and unique and could be a lot of fun for your campaign. The next trick of the trade idea I have for a plot hook is called Lost Constellations. And in this plot hook, each new moon, a new constellation or rather an old constellation, is disappearing. But each new moon, another one goes missing. These are all constellations that are based around mythical creatures that are no longer in the world anymore. And with each one that disappears, those mythical creatures are returning to wreak havoc on the world with a vengeance. Thought that would be kind of an interesting one, figuring out what to do about this, what started it, and what the solutions might be. And the third idea. In this idea, each night at midnight, your players are in a town, and each night at midnight, they're going to awaken to the sound of war drums far off in the distance, outside the walls of the city. Any investigation during the day or night reveals that there is no war band approaching, yet each night when they wake up, the drums are getting closer and closer. So this hopefully puts them onto a path of finding out what is causing this, and also raises their nerves, worrying about what will happen on the night when they finally arrive at the city. So that about wraps up things for this episode. Please subscribe to my podcast and also check out my book, Session 0, The DMG to Writing Great Campaigns in Any System. It is available on Amazon. We will see you next week when I will be talking about player archetypes and the psychological motivations of the different player types. Thank you so much for listening to the Dungeons, Dragons, and Psychology podcast. See you next session.